Hello, everyone, and welcome to Discipline Daily, where we put discipline first. Have you been feeling tired? Maybe low of energy? Maybe it's hard for you to sleep at night? Maybe you have low libido? Maybe you have a newborn baby who's keeping you up? Well, today we have a nutrient packed episode, and we're going to be going over diet and nutrients. But first, we're going to be going over some things that we've been doing lately. Then we'll get into the meat of the podcast. And then we're going to be going into maybe some Twitter news, things going on in our life. So stay tuned for that. If you want to skip to the meat of the podcast, go to the timestamp that's in the description, or we'll put it on the screen for you. So, hey, Kyle, how have you been doing?
What's up, buddy? You know me, man. I'm good every day. Every day is a good day.
Yeah.
What about you?
Oh, I'm doing really good. Just got a workout in. Feel good. Just living life, being happy. What about you? So what new things have you been up to?
Basically, at the beginning of these episodes, we always go over what we're working on, what we're learning, how we're trying to improve, and we are documenting our personal development journey. So every week we're always working. So every day we're always working. So the main thing I was working on this week, man, was I took your little dopamine fast, dude.
Nice.
Yeah, dude, I did the whole day, and I did not use any Twitter. I didn't use YouTube, and at work, I didn't use my AirPods at all, so I didn't listen to anything, man. Dude, it was very challenging, not gonna lie.
Yeah, it was hard for me too. I did it for the whole week, and it was really hard, super hard. But so how'd you feel after you did it?
Dude, I felt amazing, especially the whole day I was really relaxed, because you're just alone with your thoughts and you don't have anyone else's thoughts creeping into your mind or any other problems going on in the world or anything like that. And you're really able to just appreciate the small things. Like I was just listening to the wind go through the trees and small stuff like that. And I was trying to have more conversations with people in person, obviously, because that's all I could do. So I was spending more time really trying to talk to people and listen and work on all those skills, man. There's so many skills that you can work on when you aren't plugged into technology. It was a good experience, man, but I don't know if I'm going to do it during work too often, because for the most part we're alone, by ourselves. So I think I'm going to do it every Sunday. I'm going to skip this Sunday, but every Sunday moving forward, I'm going to do it with my family, right? And we're just going to pick whatever vices we have. Like for me, it's Twitter, YouTube, and just stuff like that. And then for Steph, we'll pick hers technology-wise. It'll basically be a no technology day so we could be more present with each other, and just a great way to reset. I'm really excited. We'll do it as a family. And then when Stevie's old enough, she'll do it too, man. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things like, back in the 70s and even 60s when there was really no phones or internet or technology. It's like people would sit around the dinner table and eat, and you would have to talk to each other. You would have to spend time with each other, get to know each other. And I feel like nowadays you see everyone, kids, parents, everyone's just on their phone, just ignoring each other. And it's probably what's causing people to not be able to interact with other people. You see people on the street and they're always mean to everyone. They're always in bad moods.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably because their dopamine levels are just tanked.
Yeah,
So
man.
I think we have to do a full episode on dopamine.
We will. That's why we'll just keep hammering it. And yeah, and dude, it's just a great way to take control back of your life, right? Because any temptation that you have, you should fast from. And one of the temptations I have, and everybody has basically, is technology. So one way of, and you can increase discipline by doing this as well, because I found myself really wanting to go on Twitter, really wanting to check out YouTube or whatever. And when you feel those temptations, that's a sign that you should take a break from it.
It was hard for me too. I remember there'd be times where I'd go on my phone and go for the app, and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I can't go on it.
Right?
It's just such a habit, and it's like I wanted to go on it. It's like this feeling of like, oh, like almost I was addicted to it.
Bro,
And it's
unconsciously doing it.
unconsciously. And I think that anything you're addicted to, anything that has a hold on you and you don't have a hold on it, is something that you need to be disciplined and control.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, I would even say anything that's, even if it's good,
yeah.
it's, because if you're doing anything unconsciously, you should take a break from it.
I mean, too much of a good thing is always bad. I mean, look at water. Water keeps you alive, but if you drink too much, like you can get sick from it. So
Yeah.
that's awesome, dude. I hope to hear more about that in the future.
Oh, oh yeah. Yeah, man. And that's one thing I've been really enjoying too, is these little traditions I'm starting to get going with my family, right? And I was thinking about, nobody else is going to instill all these values into your family. You're the man, you got to do it. You're the leader, you got to do it. So that's one I got going. So every Sunday we'll do that as family. Then the one thing I love that we do every single morning is reading the Daily Stoic out loud in every morning, man. And I haven't skipped a day. And I read it to Stevie every morning, man. She freaking loves it.
Yeah, stoicism is a something that when I found stoicism, it was something that changed my life. I get those little emails, the daily stoic emails, and I read that every morning, and it just gets you going through the day. It gives you a positive vibe in the morning, and it's awesome.
Yeah, man. And I like doing it out loud. So we're gonna take turns, right? When Stevie can read, she'll read it one day, then I read it the next day, then Steph will read it out loud that day as well. Because I think what you're doing there too is you're kind of getting rid of public speaking, because Stevie's gonna have to read this. And dude, and that was one of my biggest fears when I was a kid, was when they were doing popcorn reading. Bro, I
Oh
was like,
yeah, I hated that too.
yeah, I'm like, don't call on me. I'm so afraid right now. I
You
don't.
hiding in your book, like
Yeah. I'm like, I don't want to mess up because everybody's going to make fun of me. So you'd be so scared to read out loud. So I think, Stevie's going to go into it. She'll be like, are you kidding? I do this every morning with my family. So
yeah,
stuff like
it'll be
that
easy.
goes a long way. Yeah, man. So I'm just going to keep trying to get these little traditions and stuff going. And it's just going to keep taking off, man. And it shows the power of habits, and she'll know about habits early on. And we're just instilling great habits, man.
That's one thing that I'm super stoked on is that we're learning all this stuff and we're going to be able to translate it to our kids, things that weren't really translated to us as kids.
Oh
And we're
yeah.
going to be able to instill that in our kids, and that'll, hopefully make them even better than us. It'll give them a springboard to get even higher than we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's
super
exciting.
stoked on that.
Yep, man. And we'll have all these episodes as documents.
Yeah, I'm stoked on that too. I'm stoked to see in 10 years, like how far we've come. So,
That's exciting stuff.
so
Hey,
yeah, lately, for me, I've just been working on, one thing I've gotten into is stretching. I kind of stopped stretching for a long time, and I just started getting back into it, and it's amazing. Just at night after work, I had a long, hard day. I'll do a full stretch routine. At work, I stretch a little bit. I do some hamstrings, I do some quads. I might like do a little bit of like some stretching my shoulders and stuff. But when you get home and you can get on the floor and you can do like real deep stretches in your like hips and stuff, it just makes you feel so much better, relaxes you for sleep at night. So that's one thing that I've been working on. I'm about 3 weeks in now of doing it every day. So
yeah, that's great, man. It's good for blood circulation, recovery, all that stuff.
yeah, I think it too. If you're really flexible when you're in your 60s and 70s, I mean, you're going to be able to move around. You're going to be real limber. I feel like people when they're in their 60s and 70s and they fall down a lot or they break their hip or whatever. I mean, it comes down to your bone thickness and bone density, but it also can come down to maybe you're not flexible enough. Maybe you're not strong enough or flexible enough to move, so you end up falling or something like that. So I want to make sure that I keep myself limber and strong, and maybe have good bone density by the time I'm 60 or 70 years old.
Yeah, man. That's what they say is when you get older and you do have that fall, a lot of the people that go down are the ones that don't have that athletic ability to catch themselves as they fall.
Yeah.
They just straight fall, man. And then the fall after that, it's all downhill from there. So you can't be doing that.
And it's super easy to do. You can do it while even if you are watching TV at night, you can do it while you're sitting on the floor. You know, you can sit on the floor and you're with everyone watching TV, and you can sit and just do some stretches. You know, so there's really no excuse to not do it. It's just
Yeah.
you're just being lazy.
Yeah, man, the time that I stretch is usually when I'm playing with Stevie. I'm sitting on the ground with her. I'm like, okay, I'm already sitting, so might as well just stretch my hips out. And then a lot of times when you're stretching, they think it's fun, so they'll jump on you or whatever. So
Yeah, and then it teaches them to maybe stretch too. You know, they'll grow up seeing you stretching, and they'll be like, "Oh, I want to stretch. I want to do what Dad does," and they'll start stretching too. So it'll keep them nice and limber and flexible throughout their whole life. They
yep.
won't get to the point like I am where it's, you know, my hamstrings are super tight and I can barely touch my toes, and you know they'll be able to do all that.
Yeah. That's cool, man. Yeah, stretching's great.
So, you want to get into the meat and potatoes of the show?
Yeah, man, I'm excited. I know there's going to be some great information in this one, so I can't wait.
Yeah. So for me, it started around, I would say, 2 years ago. I got the Rona disease, that China disease, and I ended up losing a bunch of weight and being sick. And I started to think about like what food I was eating. Like, why was I getting sick? What kind of food am I eating? And I remember you actually pointing out this guy to me on YouTube. His name was Bobby, and it was from Bobby Approved, or Flavcity is his channel on YouTube. I started watching that and I just got hooked, like hooked right away on it. And I think I binged like I still watch all of his episodes, but I binged on it like crazy. And to the point to where all my friends are like, call it like, oh, is that Bobby approved? Or what you're eating? Is that Bobby approved? It's like a running joke in my friends, but they all watch him and they all like him too. So yeah, so that really, you know, took me down the journey of wanting to know what nutrients were in my food and what chemicals and what ingredients I was putting in my body. And once I made that change, and once I started watching that, I mean, it really changed my life. I mean, I feel better, I sleep better. So yeah, I got to thank you for that.
When I first found that dude, and if you guys haven't seen his channel yet, you got to check it out. We'll leave a link in the description below to Bobby approved stuff. His stuff is amazing. He'll go into grocery stores and he goes through each and every product and he'll tell you like if it's good, bad. Bobby approved is this little thing, but man, it goes a long way. So yeah,
Yeah.
and Nick's the expert on this now, and we both have somewhat of an understanding when it comes to ingredients because we both were in the supplement industry for about 5 years. So supplements are a thing, but reading ingredients lists, that's a must. And if you're not doing that, you need to start reading the ingredients list.
Yeah, definitely need to learn how to read the label on the back. We might be able to do an episode on that in the future. But yeah, it's, you know, one thing from working in the supplement industry is, on a little side note, supplements are kind of trash in a way. I mean, a lot of these companies put, you know, ingredients in
So
there at low levels that aren't really going to help you. A lot of these companies don't even put what they say they put in there. They're all about just making money. So, in my personal opinion, and I'm sure Kyle would agree on this, is try to stay away from supplements as much as you can. You want to get a lot of your nutrients from foods. And, you know, of course, there's going to be some people that have problems with that because maybe you're vegan or maybe you just have some kind of allergic thing to food, or maybe you're overweight, so you can't eat so much. That's fine. Then maybe you'd want to supplement. But in the most part, try to get it from foods. That's the best way to get it.
100%. It's I tried to do this for the past few years, man, but the one thing that's really hard to get enough of is protein. So I had to go back to protein powder.
Yeah, protein is hard.
It's really tough.
I think one of the things too is when you think about food, and this is for me, this is something that I had to change my mind on because I think we have a bad relationship with food in this country. We treat food almost as a pleasure, almost as something that we want to eat just for fun, just for the dopamine hit. Going back to dopamine. And I think you have to change your look on food, and you have to change it to what nutrients am I getting from this food? and what kind of vitamins and what kind of minerals am I getting from this food, and really study what foods have nutrient and vitamin packed. Well, which foods are those that have that in it? And you need to really study those and add those to your diet.
100%. You need to think of, not every food has to taste the best, and you like have to enjoy every meal or enjoy everything you eat. Sometimes you eat things because it's good for your body, and you're basically a machine. So if you want your machine to run properly and to the most optimum way possible, you got to give it the right ingredients. So
I
you're
think
gonna
too, like on that note of enjoying your food, I think before I changed all my diet, I think I didn't like whole foods. I didn't like plain foods. And I think it was because I was eating such a bad diet. I was eating sugars and I was eating fillers and I was eating fast food and I was eating garbage, and all that like salt, sodium, all the bad chemicals that are in these foods, they just excite your dopamine and it makes you crave those foods. So then
Mhm.
when you go and you eat, like, let's say quinoa or just chicken or whatever, it's like you're like, oh, this is gross. I want that Taco Bell. I want that, I want that processed food, because they add so much MSG and just stuff into it that it makes you almost addicted to that. And so I think when you eliminate those foods and you take away all that bad processed oils, processed sugars, and everything, and you start only eating whole foods, that you actually start to enjoy whole foods.
100%. They've engineered all those foods to make you crave it, because it's all about money at the end of the day. So
Yeah, it's funny because when me and you have talked about fasting, and I'm sure we'll make an episode on fasting, but when you start to fast, you notice that when you're watching TV, or even if you're on your phone, you see a lot of food commercials and a lot of food posts on Instagram and stuff, and it just makes you want it. You don't even notice it. It's just like, oh, come to Taco Bell, come to McDonald's, and if you're fasting, those commercials and those posts are like, it's like torture, dude. It's like, oh my god, not another food commercial, and there's so many food commercials. It's crazy.
dude, you know how I would torture myself even more when I'd be doing my longer fast? I would, on YouTube, I would watch just food cooking channels. It was awesome. Yeah, I'm kind of crazy though.
Yeah. So one of the things from Bobby's channel that I learned was just to look at your ingredients. I mean, to look at what you're putting in your body. And one of the main ingredients that you should get out of your diet are seed oils. Make sure you're getting out bad processed oils like canola oil, cottonseed oil, sunflower oil. Get all that crap oil out of your diet. Those are inflammatory oils. Those are polyunsaturated fats. Those are really bad for you. And that's the number one. And then I would say number two is probably get the sugar out of your diet as much as you can. I know it's hard because they put sugar in pretty much everything. And the big one, natural flavors. And you told me about natural flavors.
Bro, it's scary. And the one thing you got to be really wary of is they like to hide these things too. So they'll change the name of natural flavors to artificial flavors.
Artificial
And it's
flavors.
the same thing.
Or they'll
So
say no artificial flavors, but they put natural flavors in there.
yeah. Yeah, and it's so funny because you'll see it too. And remember, guys, a lot of the stuff is marketing. So ignore all the marketing, go straight to the ingredients. If you're looking at buying a new product for yourself, ignore the marketing, go straight to the ingredients. Because on the front, they'll even say no artificial flavors. But if you go onto the back, you'll see natural flavors in there.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. And then natural flavors, it can be up to 100, I believe, up to 100 chemically compounded ingredients by scientists that you don't know. It could be anything. So it's horrible. So you always want to go for no artificial flavors and no natural flavors.
Yeah. And getting the chemicals out of your diet, out of your foods, out of your water, out of your, household products is a big thing that people need to start looking into, because these chemicals that they put in there are really bad for you. They're bad for your hormones, they're bad for your skin, they're bad for a lot of things, and they really mess you up. And it can cause cancer, it can cause Parkinson's, it can cause Alzheimer's disease. So getting this stuff out of your diet should be a big priority for people. And of course, it's it's going to be hard to do it all the time. I mean, there's going to be times where you're out and you can't do it. So I mean, as long as you're doing it like 80 to 90%, I think that's good.
Yeah, I honestly don't worry about it too much. It's mainly when you're doing it every day in every meal. That's when it adds up. But if you do it here and there, like you're out and you have whatever, it's not a big deal. But if you're constantly eating the same thing every day and it happens to have all those, that's when it adds up over the long term. So that's when you have to really watch out. Especially you want to kind of go through everything you kind of eat or drink every single day and go through those products. Go through all the ingredients in those, make sure that they're the best of the best because you're doing it every day. So if you're doing something every day, go through those foods, go through all those drinks. Drinks are notorious for that.
Yeah, they put a ton of stuff in drinks.
Mm-hmm.
And I think once you do that, that's the main thing that you should do. And once you do that, you're going to feel 100 times better. But also, then you can get into doing like the nutrient, breaking down each nutrient, breaking down each mineral, each vitamin. Then you can start getting into that stuff. But once you take those bad oils and the sugar and the processed stuff out of your diet, you're going to notice that you feel better, you sleep better, and you're going to notice too, if you eat something that does have those oils in it, your stomach is just going to be messed up. Like you're going to be on the toilet, you're going to be feeling sick, and your gut biome is a very important thing for you. Like it's what controls like how sick you get, if you get sick, how, your immunity. So keeping your gut biome healthy is something that you all should try to do.
Bro, I don't know about you, but when you eat stuff that has these chemicals in it, can you taste them or?
I can taste them.
I can taste
You
them.
can taste chemicals. But before I couldn't. Like
Oh,
if I ever go to Taco Bell and I bite into a taco, I'm like, oh, like this tastes like chemicals.
yeah, man, that's what I noticed too.
So that's one thing that I'm super stoked on is finding, Bobby's channel.
Yeah, so what else should they look out for? They look out for sugars, the palm oils,
Yeah,
seed
the canola
oils.
oil, any seed oils. The only oils that are said to be good are olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, and
Avocado oil.
avocado oil. Yeah,
Yeah,
those ones are the good ones. And you can find Siete makes some really good chips and some really good tortillas and some really good hot sauce and stuff that's all going to be Bobby approved, which means that it doesn't have any bad chemicals in it. So there's a lot of things nowadays. They're making a lot of things nowadays. Costco has a lot of stuff that you can get that's Bobby approved, that's best in class ingredients. So yeah, on top of that, I would say caffeine. Like a lot of people are drinking a lot of caffeine. I know there's some people that say drink a ton of caffeine and drink it all day. It doesn't even matter, but caffeine has been shown to keep you awake at night. And also, if you drink it too early in the morning, like right when you wake up, it can attach to adenosine receptors and make you more tired throughout the day.
yeah.
So I would say with caffeine, what's been working for me is I started taking it like an hour to 2 hours after I wake up. And dude, I don't feel tired at all anymore.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember when Andrew Huberman was going through that. You said delay your caffeine intake in the morning. I try and do that as much as I can. I do about 30 minutes and it's helping. I just drink water up until that point. But yeah, that's a huge one is delaying that caffeine. You'll feel more energetic throughout the day.
Yeah.
And then through the products, you always want to see how much caffeine is in this. And it's usually at the bottom. It'll say how many milligrams. And, if it's 100 milligrams, that's all right. If it's going upwards of 200 milligrams, you got to be careful.
Yeah.
And then you especially got to watch your timing. If you're taking it past 2 o'clock, you're probably going to have some troubles sleeping or getting that deep rest that night.
Yeah. Dude, one thing for me, I used to lay in bed at night and I used to think to myself, like, I can't sleep. Like, I think I have insomnia because I'm just laying in bed. I'm just staring at the ceiling. I'm tossing, I'm turning, can't sleep. And one thing I did was I stopped drinking caffeine past 11 o'clock in the morning. And once I did that, I hit the pillow and I'm out like a light, just out. Like, I don't sit there. I don't think about anything. At like 8:30, I'm like dozing off. And by 9 o'clock, when I turn the TV off, I'm out.
When you're probably getting quality sleep too. which is
Exactly, I'm
great.
getting that deep. So let's also get into maybe some ways people can track their nutrients, because once you get, you take that bad stuff out of your diet, then you can get into actually tracking what nutrients that you're getting. So the best way is to eat good fruits, good vegetables, good sources of meat and protein, good carb sources. And one way you can track it is through this app called Chronometer. And that's the app that I got, and that's what I use. And I scan all my food and I put in how much I'm eating, and it gives you a breakdown of how many vitamin A, how many vitamin B, how all the E and C's and everything. And you can look at all the minerals too. It tells you how much potassium, how much magnesium, and all those minerals that you need, which help you sleep, help you feel better, give you energy. So you can use Chronometer to track everything you're eating, and it can help you to know, am I deficient in this mineral? Am I deficient in this vitamin? So you can start figuring that stuff out.
Is that app free?
Yeah, it's free.
And then also, if you have trouble tracking stuff, because it's difficult. So a lot of people, they have trouble tracking because you're basically trying to do two habits in one. You're trying to track something and you're trying to also keep track of what food you're eating. So, but you need to do it. Come up with a game plan, do it for, be like, hey, I'm going to do it for 2 weeks and get it done and track it. And Nick sounds like he's loving this chronometer.
Yeah, I actually just got it because I was eating good foods. I was eating, quinoa, which is a good carbohydrate, has a nutrient packed. I was eating a lot of bison, a lot of beef. I was eating salmon, and I was eating a lot of like fruits and vegetables and stuff. And so I know I was getting a lot, but I didn't know how much, because you can also go maybe too much. You can also have maybe too much vitamin D levels, which is bad for you, or so I was like, how much am I eating? How much am I getting? So I tracked it, and I'm getting a lot of all the good nutrients that I need. But one thing I'm not getting is vitamin E. So now I can go and look, okay, what foods are high in vitamin E? You can look it up on Google or whatever, and then it'll tell you what foods are high in vitamin E, and you can just start adding that to your diet.
Since you did that and you notice, then did you add the food in? Have you seen your food or your deficiencies go up?
Yeah, so I think I was eating way too much quinoa, and I was eating way too much beef, like unsaturated fat. So what I did was I cut out a little bit of the unsaturated fat from the beef, and I got rid of a little bit of eggs, because I was eating a lot of eggs, like 10 eggs a day. And I added in things like apricots, raisins, almonds, and some spinach. And that brought up a lot of my numbers that I needed. So that's something that you can do if you don't want to go get blood work. I want to get blood work. I haven't done it yet, but I'm thinking about this year going and getting blood work done a couple of times so that they can actually track my levels. Because you might have, just through your DNA, maybe you have some stuff that you're going to be deficient in that you need to get more in. So that's one thing that I want to work on next. Okay, so some other good ways that you guys can track your food and know how much you're eating is to get a food scale. And this is mine. This is a cheap one I got on Amazon, But you guys really should be weighing your food. I mean, it's the best way to know what you're putting in your body, how much you're putting in your body, how many calories you're getting, how much protein you're getting, how much fats you're getting, how much carbs you're getting. So get one of those. I would definitely get one of those. And then just get a cheap blood glucose monitor and start checking your blood glucose, because that's very important. You might have insulin resistance, pre-diabetes, and you may not even know it. It may not even show up on you. So I would check that regularly. And, there's ways to lower that. If you eat a big meal, maybe go on a 10-minute walk. That will help bring down your blood glucose. And, just keep those things in mind. I'm sure we'll go in more depth about those things later on. But yeah, I've been checking mine lately because I've been feeling like maybe I'm eating too much. I need to start checking it. So it's in a good range. And then another thing, there's another doctor that I listen to on YouTube. His name is Dr. Anthony J. And he talks a lot about phthalates and the chemicals that are in our water. And so that's another thing that I think, we'll get into eventually. But water is something I really wanted to get into, because a lot of people think that you need to drink gallons of water a day, like just a ton of water a day. And there's actually a disease you can get from that called hyponatremia. And it's when you drink way too much water. And what you're doing is you're diluting all the minerals and all the nutrients that you're putting in your body. You're diluting it and you're peeing it out. So that can actually dehydrate you. So a good rule of thumb is first make sure you're getting the nutrients that hydrate you, all your electrolytes like potassium and magnesium and sodium. And once you get those levels, then just make sure you're drinking when you're thirsty. You don't need to just drink a gallon of water a day. If you're thirsty enough to drink a gallon of water a day, then you probably should. But if you're just drinking water just to drink water, you're cramming it down your face, it's probably not going to be good for you.
Yeah. I want to get back to that scale real quick that you showed. The scale is a great way to make sure that you're keeping your portions correct too, man, because a lot of people are overeating. But if you're throwing that thing on a scale, you're not going to be overeating as much as you thought you were. So that's a great point, man. Get a scale.
A lot of people don't know like how much they're eating and how many calories are in that. So that's a good way, especially if you're trying to lose weight, or if you're trying to gain weight.
Yeah, and don't think that this is going overboard or whatever. We're all athletes here. We're all trying to get better. We're all trying to take care of our bodies so we can perform the best we could perform. So that was a great tip. And then as far as the water goes, yeah, you want to make sure you're getting the best quality water. A lot of people think that just water is water.
Yeah.
That is not the case, man. I think it's a reverse osmosis filter, and it filters through all this salt or whatever. So we're getting some high quality H2O, and it tastes amazing. And I know that, there's no bull crap in there. And it's amazing. You need good quality water. And then this might be me being paranoid, but I do not drink any water out of plastic bottles because you don't know how long that plastic or the water has been sitting in that plastic. So it could be leaching all types of just crap that you don't need. So use stainless steel, and it's great for the environment, and it's reusable, and you're just getting the best quality water. So make sure you're getting good quality water in.
Yeah, that Anthony J guy, and he has a website. It's called ajconsultingcompany.com, and he has a list of things that you can change out for, if let's say you're using a bad chemical in your hair soap or in your body wash, he has like other options that you can use that are better for you to get these chemicals out. But for him, water is the biggest thing because they put chemicals in your water. I mean, just to clean it, like tap water, they put a ton of chemicals in there. They put fluoride, which is bad for you. You shouldn't have fluoride. They just put a bunch of chemicals in there. And also there's a lot of estrogen chemicals in there because women, when they take the birth control pill is made to not break down in your body. Like your body's made to not be able to break it down because it needs to get into your bloodstream. But the rest that doesn't get into your bloodstream is peed out into the toilet and it goes into the sewer. And then when it goes to be refiltered and it goes to get filtered out or chemicals put in it, it doesn't break down. So now people are actually drinking that and it's getting into men's bodies and it's causing us to have higher estrogen levels and lower testosterone levels. So filtering your water through reverse osmosis or any kind of charcoal infused filter is a good way to get that stuff out of your water. But yeah, don't drink plastic water bottles. Even try to stay away from plastic things like in your orange juice or in anything you're consuming, because those plastic chemicals will leach out into the food and into your water and liquids.
Yeah, even Tupperwares, plastic bags, all that. Anything, just guys, take a look at your lives. Anything that you do on a daily basis or you do a lot of, like brush your teeth, right? You want to look at your toothpaste, your hand soap, right? You want to have good quality hand soap. Your dish soap, you want to have good quality dish soap because you clean the dishes and then you eat off the dishes, right? Same thing with your laundry detergent. For me, the one I freaking love is my deodorant. I changed that one up, and I use a mineral, and it's just like a rock. You wet the rock and you put it on your armpit, and it doesn't work the best. It doesn't smell. There's no scent because it's unscented, but that under, like, was it Old Spice? Look
Yeah,
at the
bad.
ingredients there, man, and you're doing it every day. And you're applying it directly to your skin, right?
And it's going
So
in your bloodstream for sure. It's getting in
yeah,
there.
and every day. Think if you do that for 20 years.
They have good ones now too. They have like this one called Native, and there's a lot of ones you can buy at Sprouts and stuff that are really good and have no aluminum and no chemicals in it, and it actually makes you like it kind of works a little better. And I've tried that mineral one. The mineral one didn't really work for me either. I
Yeah,
was like,
it's
I got to change it up, dude.
yeah, it
Well, you
doesn't
don't
work
smell that
24 hours.
when you fix your diet. You don't really smell that bad anymore.
No.
Those smells kind of go away. So a lot of things, fix themselves once you get your diet right, because your diet is number one. It's the energy you're giving yourself because you have the right nutrients for everything to work good in your body, for your brain to work good, for your muscles to work good, for you to sleep better. I mean, people are like, oh, you could take magnesium before bed so that you can sleep good. It's like, why don't you just get foods high in magnesium and eat that throughout the day? This is the best way to do it. And you're saving a ton of money on these supplements that who knows what's in the damn supplement? You don't
Yeah.
know. Were you there when they packed it, or other things could get mixed into those supplements? So, yeah.
Dude, they barely know what's going in there.
Yeah, dude. I remember when I worked at the supplement company, it was like, they'd ship stuff from China, and who knows what's in that stuff,
Yeah, because it doesn't have to be FDA approved. A
No.
lot of the stuff.
Well, they're not testing it either. It'd be too hard to test every single product on the market.
Mhm.
What are some supplements that you think would be beneficial to take?
Well, you know me, protein, 100%, because say you weigh 185 pounds, you want at least one gram per pound, right? But you would probably want 1.5. So what am I looking at? Like 250, 200, 225 grams of protein a day. It's tough to get that in, especially if you're fasting or intermittent fasting. So protein 100%. And then I do creatine because I don't get too much red meat in. I'm not eating steak every day. I'm not having beef every day. So creatine, protein, caffeine. I take zinc because if you work out a lot, you get deficient in zinc, and then zinc's just great for your immune system. Fish oil, because I same thing. I don't eat a lot of fish. Um, that's pretty much it. That's what I like to take. What about you?
Yeah, I would say all those. And it just depends. I added my supplements into my chronometer, and my vitamin D and my zinc, because I was taking vitamin D and zinc. The levels were like way too high. They were so high because I was getting a lot from food. So that's another thing too, is if you can get a chronometer and you can look at what nutrients you're getting, then you can kind of decide what supplements you might need. If you're really not getting vitamin E, let's say, or vitamin A, some vitamin Bs, it's like, maybe you start taking those. Or if you get a blood test and it comes back and saying, hey, you're really deficient in this, then those would be important. But yeah, I'd say creatine. If you can't get protein. But other than that, that's basically it. I would say, like that you need, that are probably something that you should take, that are like staples, because there's not a lot of creatine in red meat anymore. Even if you do eat a lot of red meat, you're not getting a ton from that. One thing, maybe sodium, because that's another thing. If you fix your diet and you're eating whole foods and natural foods, there's not a lot of sodium in it. There's no added sodium. So make sure you're getting around 3 to 4 grams of sodium a day if you're working out and sweating and doing a lot of activity. If you're sedentary, you can get away with 1 to 2 grams, but I would definitely keep track of your sodium, because that's a very important electrolyte.
Cool deal. All right, man, to recap, so what do you think is the most important thing when you are going to the store and you're looking at getting a new product? What should you do?
I would say, if it's anything that comes from the ground or anything that's made from a plant or something, make sure you're getting an organic food, because they spray a lot of these plants and stuff with Roundup and chemicals, and that gets into the food, and then you're eating that. And that's chemicals that are messing up your body. And it's probably the cause of a lot of the cancers and everything that we see nowadays with diseases and Alzheimer's and everything. So I would say, it costs a little bit more money. And if it's things that have a hard shell, like a pineapple or something, you might not need to get organic because there's a hard shell there and you're cutting that off. But if it's anything that's you're going to be eating directly, like grapes or something, you should probably get something that's organic.
Except if it has a hard shell and it's an egg.
Yeah,
If it's an egg, you want to get only pasture raised. Everything else is pure marketing. Cage free, all that stuff, it's marketing. Get pasture raised. Pasture raised, these chickens are running free. They're eating bugs.
we
They're
can't
doing,
get we can't get those eggs anymore, Kyle. They're too
uh,
expensive.
we can wish.
Yeah, I mean, if the animal's eating, you want the animal to be organic too, because that way they're eating organic feed too, because the bad chemicals can get into the cow or the chicken or whatever you're eating, fish, and can make it have those chemicals in his body too. And then you eat that, and then you have those chemicals.
Well, yeah, and those crappy eggs, man, these chickens, they're literally like side by side. They're all lined up. They have no room at all. And then they're just pooping and peeing on each other. It's a horrible environment. So you need pasture raised. You need those chickens out there being chickens.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're not going to get as much nutrients. They're not going to be as healthy because they're going to be stressed out. They're going to have high cortisol. You know, when you have high cortisol levels and you're all constantly stressed out, you get rid of nutrients. Your body it's just stressed out. It's getting rid of nutrients. You need more nutrients. So that's why if you have a baby and you're not sleeping at night, it's very important to make sure that your nutrients are on point because you need more nutrients to keep yourself functioning right.
Yeah. All right, cool. Solid info. And if you guys have any more questions about nutrients or ingredients list, just leave it in the comment section below and we'll answer it in the next video.
All right, so let's get into some social media type stuff, dude. I'm
Oh,
interested in this because I
yeah.
don't. So,
Yeah, buddy. Let's get into some Twitter news by Calisthenic Kyle. All right. This week wasn't too big of a week. There's a lot of like political stuff going on that was just pretty boring in general. But I did come across something that was really cool. It's by this guy. His name is Power Beast, right? He shows the 5 most powerful hand mudras. Do you know what a mudra is?
no, never heard of that.
Me either, man. I never heard of this ever. I've never seen it, but we have seen it. If you look at Andrew Tate's interviews,
Oh,
yes, he does that,
I've
right?
been doing that lately. Just for no reason. I don't even know why I
Dude,
started doing that.
it's really cool. Okay, so the one that Andrew Tate uses the most, it's called Uttara Bodhi Mudra, but it's when you extend your 2 index fingers and then you basically kind of make like a spade, right? With your thumbs, and
Like
then
a
you
gun,
interlock them.
like a
Yeah,
gun.
and it's a yogic hand gesture, right? But it's for enlightenment. So you have it right under your navel. It's great for improving self-confidence and realizing the inner self. It removes fear and teaches one to not worry about anything but God. It's pretty awesome, man. But they
What's
say
that
you need they say you need to practice it 3 times a day for up to 20 minutes. It's pretty intense, but you can see that he uses it and actually Elon Musk uses it as well. There's
What was it called?
it's called it's called a Madra, but the one that he uses is a Uttara Bodhi Madra. And then there's so many more little hand gestures that you can use. And it really makes sense, right? When you see people meditating and stuff, they do the little that thing, with their hands.
Yeah.
That has a purpose as well. I always thought they just did it to like look cool or something, but it's really interesting stuff.
Wow, dude. I want to look more into that.
Yeah. So
Because I did see him do that, and then and I just started doing it, like not even thinking about it. I didn't even think about it, and then I saw like somebody pointed it out, and I was like, "What the hell?" But I kind of felt like it made me feel better in a way. It made
yeah,
me feel more calm when I was doing it.
it's supposed to calm you down and just and that's why I think he does it during interviews. Is it's just a great way to just stay calm and
Yeah, it was weird. I just did it, and I was like, kind of felt like a loser for doing it because I'm like, oh, why am I doing this? But I felt good doing it, so I'm like, I'm gonna keep doing it.
Exactly. So that's something to look into, guys. And I would start practicing it, and why not use it? If people like Andrew Tate are using it during interviews and
21 months.
Elon Musk is using it during interviews, it's something you should probably look into. Oh, it's so funny, right? Because I told Steph about these, I showed her, right? She's like, "Oh, that's the Illuminati symbol."
That's what my cousin told
Yeah.
me. Hey, stop doing that Illuminati symbol.
I'm like, no. I'm like, don't you think that it just works and they happen to use it because it's good and it works?
Who knows? We'll never
It
be a
doesn't
part of that club, dude. So who
doesn't
cares?
make it doesn't make it their symbol. That's what people need to understand. A symbol is a symbol, and just because a group or a person uses that symbol doesn't mean it's that like their symbol. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we put
So
meaning to everything. So
yeah. So that was the main thing that I saw on Twitter this week. Other than that, we just had Tesla's earnings that came out, I believe, on Wednesday. They crushed it like normal. They got 22 billion in cash they're sitting on, and the main thing that was really cool is they're extending the gigafactory in Nevada. They're adding a 3.5 billion facility to it, and it's going to help with bringing the semi truck up to production. So that's really cool. And then the Cybertruck's coming out this year, but volume production will be in 2024. So cool stuff going on with Tesla, man.
can't wait to see those trucks on the road. It's gonna be
Yeah,
awesome.
right. I can't wait to have one, dude.
I
But
know.
once those trucks hit the road, bro, it's game over, dude. Yeah, so cool stuff with Tesla, cool stuff going on Twitter. And yeah, and if you guys haven't followed me on Twitter yet, follow me, Cal St. Cal. Trying to get to 10,000 followers. And right now I'm sitting at 1,491. So I'm creeping up there slowly but surely.
Yeah, and if you guys have any questions, you guys can put them, on Twitter, or you guys can put them in the comments below, and we'll try to answer them in what we're doing, and maybe give you some advice on what we do, and maybe try to help you out. Oh, and speaking of that, I think we got a question last week from Mildly Windy. It says that I mentioned I prefer doing full body workouts or full workouts. I would like to hear an update on that after the baby arrives. So we'll definitely do that once my baby comes. Well, it's probably going to be a little while after because I gotta, get my routines down. But we'll definitely do that. And her question was, Nick mentioned he prefers doing full workouts. I would like to hear an update on that after the baby arrives. If you will need to change working, put into doing small series whenever possible, and some advice on how to mentally navigate it. Not being able to do things fully as planned would be awesome. I struggle with this myself, even though I can do a lot of reps randomly throughout the day. At the end, I feel like I did not do a workout at all. Wonder how to fix this in my head. So that's a good question, and we'll definitely do a video on that and cover that when my baby comes. I think for me, what I'm going to try to do when my baby is here is it'll probably have to be more condensed workouts. I'll probably have to do things like supersets, drop sets, and cluster sets, which are just great ways of saving time, and also doing antagonist supersets. So if I do a set of chest and then do a set of back, and then go back to the set of chest and go back to the set of back, so that I'm keeping myself moving. It just depends on what equipment you have. If you only have, your house and you only have push-ups and some dumbbells or something, then, that'd be kind of hard. But just try to keep that intensity somehow. Try to, do as many reps as you can, take a little bit of a break, and, go back to doing as many reps as you can, and just push it until you fail. I mean, those are the things that I'm going to try. I don't know because, my baby's not here yet, but I'll probably have more info on that when he does arrive.
I'm really excited for Nick to have his baby because I can't wait to see how it totally disrupts his little routine, and we're going to see how he handles it. So his baby's coming around July, people. So stay tuned. It's going to be awesome. But yeah, the main thing I do is, I told you guys last week is, I work out 30 minutes on my lunch every day and I do calisthenics. And then before work too, I try to do a little bit of calisthenics. Like I'll knock out about 150 push-ups before I even get to work. And then at work, I'll do, around 200 push-ups. And that's the key, is starting early. Get to it early. And I do the 150 push-ups while I'm watching the kid too. So you can do it while you're watching the kid, and they like to watch. So just remember that.
Yeah. I mean, I hate that when you feel like you don't get a good workout or you didn't really do anything, you're just doing high reps. It is hard, but you can build muscle with high reps. I think you just have to push yourself to failure as best you can, and I think a lot of people don't know what failure truly is for them. I think they give up way too early. And so I think you just have to use your mind to, when you start feeling tired, it's like you said, I think in last week's episode, that 40% rule. When you're tired and you think you can't do any more, you're probably only 40% from your max. So just keep pushing yourself and push yourself until you can't do another rep, until there's just someone puts a gun to your head and says, I'm going to kill you if you don't do another rep, and you can't do another rep. And I think that's what I'm going to try.
All right, cool deal.
So you have anything else, Kyle?
That's it, buddy.
All right, man. Well, that was a great episode, and pain is good.
Pain is great.